Isn't it interesting how everyone seems to be a victim, but no one seems to be the aggressor or the perpetuator, right? Isn't it interesting how everyone has a sad story of the people that hurt them, people that betrayed them, the people that did them wrong, but very few of us seem to have a story of the people that we actually hurt or the people that we actually did wrong, right? We live in a world in which everyone is literally pointing fingers at each other. Everyone is pointing fingers at, you know, the people that hurt them or did them wrong. Or we point fingers at these subset or small amounts of people who we believe are the only ones doing wrong. But yet we never truly point fingers at ourselves. We never truly own up to the things that we did wrong, to the people that we hurt, to the bad things that we did, even if they're subtle or small, right? And what if every single one of us is a villain in some way? What if every single one of us is contributing to this mess, to this brokenness that we see in our world, to the dysfunction that we see in our world? What if all of us is contributing a lot more than we'd like to admit, right? What if all of us is a villain without even recognizing it? Now, I'm going to be the first to admit that I've personally hurt people in my past. There were a lot of things that I did to hurt people. There were a lot of things that I did from ignorance or just being completely unaware. There were things that I did from jealousy. There were things that I did from anger or revenge or wanting to retaliate. There were a lot of things that I did to hurt people. And looking back, I wish I could go back and correct all of that. Looking back, I wish I could go back and right my wrongs. Obviously I can't. But it is safe to say that I'm a villain in someone's story. It is safe to say that there's probably someone out there right now who's carrying a lot of hurt, carrying a lot of anger, carrying a lot of resentment over the things that I did. So I'm a villain in someone's story. And see, every single one of us, whether we like to admit it or not, every single one of us is a villain in someone's story. Every single one of us has something in our past that we've done to hurt someone else. And sometimes we look at the actions, look at the things that we do, and we sort of downplay them. We believe that just because they're not these major actions that, you know, they do no harm, but we don't even recognize how our small actions, the small things that we do, the small things that we tend to overlook, we don't recognize just how much of a domino effect they have in creating this mess of world that we're living in. We don't recognize how the small things that we do end up being major things and end up contributing to the way our world is currently, right? The small things. Staying in a relationship, keeping someone there, even though you have no intentions of being with that person long term, just because you're afraid of being lonely or being by yourself, that is you contributing to the hurt, right? Walking past someone who asks you for $1 or a few dollars, and you know you have it to give, just because you don't feel like you're obligated to help that person, that is you contributing to this mess that we live in. That person might end up robbing somebody, killing somebody, just so that they can have something to eat. All right? Saying awful things, hurtful things to someone out of anger, out of unawareness, out of ignorance. Even some of the things that we take as a joke and we say to other people without recognizing the effects of our words, that's contributing to the mess. There are so many things that we do that is contributing to this mess of a society that we have. So many things. And it's not only the grand things, it's not only the people that are doing the killings, so on and so forth. It is every single one of us and our micro actions on the day-to-day basis. We're all contributing to this mess of our society, right? And obviously, I'm not making this video to shame anyone. I'm not in any place to shame anyone because I literally just admitted that I'm just as much of a part of this mess as any one of us. But I'm saying this so that we can stop pointing fingers at everyone else and really start looking at ourselves. I'm saying this so we can stop blaming other people and self reflect and introspect and look at ourselves. Look at the person that is in the mirror instead of continuing to blame everyone else. Look at how our actions, our words are contributing to this mess of a society instead of constantly blaming everyone else. Because if we want any sort of change, we have to start with the person in the mirror. If we want any sort of change, the only place we can start is with ourselves. Because no one in this world, none of you guys watching this, none of us are perfect. We've all done things that we're not even aware of how they've affected people. We've all done them. No one watching this is perfect. Everyone has something buried. Everyone has some skeleton in their closet, even if it's small. We all do. And if everyone is pointing finger at the next person as the villain, then how can we truly change? Because no one is going to take accountability. No one is going to say, I was wrong. No one is going to apologize. No one is going to right their wrongs. No one is going to change their behavior because we all believe that it is other people and never us. And no change can take place if we continue to blame everyone else and not look at ourselves. No sort of change. We're going to, you know, become stuck in this cycle if we don't recognize that change begins with ourselves first. A lot of the things that we do are done from a place of being unaware. This is why Jesus said, forgive them not because they know not what they have done. Essentially, when he said that, he was saying that a lot of things that we do, a lot of the actions that we take, they are done from a place of being unaware of the consequences of our actions. They're being done from a place of not even recognizing that we're actually doing wrong. So many of us do things and we just brush them aside without even recognizing the repercussions of our actions. So we need more awareness. We need more awareness of ourselves. We need more awareness of our actions. We need more accountability. We need more reflection. We need more introspection if we want to ever make any sort of change in this world. We need it. I think it was Jesus once again that said something to the degree of, and I'm just paraphrasing. I think he said, pick the beam out of your eyes before you try to take the lodge out of your neighbor's eyes, right? If you're not aware of the things that you are doing, if you are unconscious, if you are ignorant of your own actions and their consequences, and you're not seeing clearly the things that you're obviously doing wrong, then how can you sort of help anyone else to see the consequences of their actions? You can't, right? And especially when you're the type of person who can't own up to your mistakes, then what position are you in to sort of preach to anyone else or get anyone else to see the consequences of their actions? You're in no position to do so. And that's the world we live in currently. Everyone is blaming the next person, pointing fingers, right? You know that meme, that Spider-Man meme? That Spider-Man meme where they're both pointing at each other? That's how most of us go to this world, pointing at the next person, blaming the next person. And we never take accountability for the things that we've done, for the wrongs that we've committed. We never take accountability for our actions, right? So any sort of change in this world first begins with ourselves. And every single one of us, every single one of you watching this, we're all contributing to this mess a lot more than we even recognize. The small things that we overlook, our small actions, the words that we take for granted, they have a lot more consequences that we even recognize. And until we recognize just how connected things are, just how connected every single one of us are, and that this world is governed by the principle of cause and effect and the domino effect, until we recognize that, then there can truly be no change in this world. And the cycle of hatred, cycle of anger, cycle of resentment, it is going to continue. So I'm going to admit that I need to change. I'm going to admit that I need to self reflect. I'm going to admit that sometimes the words that I use might be hurtful to people without even recognizing it. I'm going to admit that the things that I do out of anger, out of resentment, out of revenge, they have a lot more consequences than I even realize. I'm going to admit that I need to change. And if you're watching this, you need to look at yourself as well and recognizing how your words, your actions, the things that you do without even recognizing it, are creating this mess of a society that we hate, that we despise so much. And all of us, every single one of us, is a villain in some capacity. But we don't have to remain as villains. At any day, we can self reflect, introspect, step into a lot more awareness, and begin to become the heroes of this world. Because change isn't going to only take place by a subset few of people, right? We've seen in history, we've had a few people in the past who tried to create some sort of change, but it's not enough for one person. It takes a village, it takes a community, it takes the entire planet in order to change this world that we live in. But before we can do that, we have to begin with ourselves first, right? You truly have to. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here with me on this beautiful day. Yeah, I'm recording these videos and I suck at lighting. I suck at maybe the backgrounds or whatever. No, but who gives a shit? I'm starting to recognize a lot of things that I used to stress over. It doesn't even matter. So this video is probably dark as hell. Obviously, I'm not the lightest person in the world either. But it's probably dark as hell, but the message is bright enough to make up for the quality. Take care of yourselves. Give yourselves a bit of love every day, like I always say. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace and blessings.